Good morning. Thanks for waking up with some morning wood today on this Sunday, February 14th. We got the week of Tuesday, February 16th coming up here that we're going to be discussing. The two boys that are normally here, Mr. Vex, Mr. Tata, tied a few off last night. So they're not here. So we got special guest, Mr. Atlalune here.
What the heal? So my guild thinks I should switch back to it. They're really not fond of the new name, but uh yeah, I had to switch it up. I wanted to see. I was having problems getting into keys early in the expansion, and I've had problems with it in the past. People inviting me and think I'm a healer, and I'm not. So I just switched it. Yeah. So I started playing WoW back in Burning Crusade, and like halfway through the expansion, I didn't play it at launch, but halfway through the expansion, I started playing. Main was a warlock. It, I played consistently from Burning Crusade up through Wrath, and then as the warlock, and then at halfway through Wrath, I switched over to Priest as my main, and I've honestly been a Priest main since. Every expansion I've kind of played a little bit differently depending on what I have going on in my life. You know, I did PVE and PvP in BC, transitioned into PvP only through like Pandaria, Cataclysm, Draenor, and then now since Legion I've been main PvE again and as a priest. Last few expansions I've been healing, hence the name What the Heal, but with Shadow being in the states as it is at the beginning of this expansion, I figured it'd be best to try it out. Figured it's the best time to do it. They're really great DPS. They made a lot of changes to it. Figured no other good time to try it when it's powerful. Yeah, yeah. I know it was tough for me to let the guild know that I was switching, losing a main healer, but we've actually been pretty good. We've actually had two core healers switch with me and offensive, but um, we've actually managed to get a good healing team together.
We're going to jump into Mythic Pluses. So this week we got Sanguine, Grievous, and Fortitude. So it's the tank's problem. Everybody else doesn't really have to worry. It's going to be about the tank. Heal a little bit for the Grievous aspect, but it's going to be basically the tank, the heals, and DPS can just kind of run around do their own thing. I guess Altalune, what's your thought here this coming up week? What are you looking at being an issue, or what's going to be easy, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Grievous is always kind of a pain in the butt for healers, but they with the changes that they've made it through this patch or through this season of Shadowlands, uh, it's not as bad as what it used to be. Because every time you do a direct heal on somebody, it removes a stack of Grievous, which that wasn't the case before. You had to get them above 90% in order for the stacks to fall off. And if your whole team has 6 stacks on them, like you're gonna struggle. So it's nice that the direct heals will remove a stack. That'll kind of help escalate it. What was the other two? Was Grievous and I didn't pull that up.
We got Grievous, Sanguine, and of course it's a Fort week.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sanguine, like you said, tank issue. Just a matter of positioning. I know there's going to be a particular set of mobs that just sit in hard cast, so we'll have to do the research, figure out which ones are kind of hard casters, and try to focus them down first, and then move the rest of the mob. I think I'm trying to think of some of the names of the mobs, and I think it's Halls of Atonement. There's a few of them that sit in hard cast, and it's hard to get them to go around corners and things like that unless if you LOS.
Right, but
But
that's where you bring in a Druid tank because he just typhoons it out. Game over.
yep.
Next issue.
Yeah, I mean, druids are so versatile. No matter what spec they are, like it's pretty healthy to bring a druid into any any of your keys because of utility like that.
Right. So
And then
when you say any Druid, you're talking Bears number one, Boomkin number two, and then probably no Feral.
I haven't honestly seen a feral druid in Mythic Plus this season, and then with you being a druid, I guess I'd be curious in hearing your input why, because I've seen you do raid as druid as no, I should say as druid as uh feral, and you raid feral really good, but I guess that's my question for you. What makes feral not so good in Mythic Plus? I haven't seen him.
So what makes it not good is the fact that Boomkin is better. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
it's the meta mindset where it's this DPS is gonna come. He's gonna come as Boomkin. So the combination of Druid having two specs for damage, so why not take the better of the two? Or why is this guy not playing Boomkin when
sure.
it's better than Feral? And then from a DPS standpoint and keys in general, there's so many people trying to get into keys that you've got your pick of the litter. Like if you had to
Yeah.
choose between a class with hero or different melee classes, like if you're getting in melee, you're probably getting a punch monk. You're probably getting like a DK, maybe a warrior for the buff there. It's just, yeah, why bring the feral druid when we can just find a boomkin? Because there's so many more options. It's just they're
Sure.
not on the radar. And so I guess last week we brought this up on the podcast. We're talking about how WoW needs to make something similar to the PvP system for Mythic Plus, like a Valor point system. And then bam,
Yep.
Blizzard watched our podcast and stole our idea. Like
Hey,
that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
so we just need to keep mentioning things here and then start making changes. Perfect.
Right, that's where they come for their information, apparently. So, 100% on that idea. There may be other theories out there, but I'm pretty sure that one is the theory to go with. What's your thought on them changing mythics up like that?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a step in the right direction. I'm not going to complain about any sort of implementations to make things better. There are a few things about it that I still think are a little bit lacking, like lackluster. And uh, i- overall, though, it's still a good step in the right direction. And I'm just going off of memory of what they're changing. Like the loot cap is at 220, right? You can only upgrade it to 220, not the 226. And um, I'm kind of impartial how I feel about that. Part of me, I've said this even in Legion and BFA. Part of me says that if you're a Mythic Raider, you deserve the top gear no matter what. That the top gear that the game has to offer no matter what. So it makes sense for Mythic Plus to be capped out at 220 and not be up to 226 like Mythic Raiders. I feel that way, but the other part of me says, but if it's not your game style, like if you're not someone who has the ability to set 2, 3 hours a day, well, let's not a day, but 2 days a week if you're doing a raid team, so 6 hours total a week for raiding, which is pretty average, I would say, raid schedule wise. But if you're not someone who could devote 6 hours a week, with 3 hour blocks of time in a night to be a part of the Mythic Raider, I don't feel like you should be punished for that either. Like if your gameplay and your game style is to get a couple buddies, log in, knock out a couple high keys, log out, and kind of bounce around, I don't feel like you should be punished for that. So I'm a little torn on how I feel about it in that sense, but at the same time, it's definitely a step in the right direction. And the other thing to go with that too is PvP gear. You could still get mythic level item level PvP gear as you could do mythic raiders. Again, two separate play styles, both achieve the highest item level, but then you have the mythic plus people in the middle who still can't get that item level. So I would say I would hope that there's something that they can implement that would bump that up to 226. Whether that's move keys to timing all of them at a plus 20, which would unlock the new tier. That'd be fair. And you're doing the hardest level stuff, you might as well be rewarded for it.
Right. So, what he's talking about there, folks, is they've implemented a new system that your baseline gear prior in a key right now, the max you can get is a 210 piece, and that's it. End of the week, you can get a 226 out of your vault for doing 15s, but that's kind of the max threshold Blizzard has put on it right now so far is 210 for doing a 15 during the dungeon, 226 for end of week chest. They're going to change it now, so if you've done all your fives, you can upgrade your dungeon gear to 207. If you've done all your 10s, you can upgrade it to 213. If you've done all your 15s, you can upgrade it to 220. So, give you a comparison to the PvP side. PvP, their 1400 is like fives, their 1600 is like 10s, their 1800 rating is like 15s. So, what are your thoughts on this as a threshold? Because right now it's still a little bit behind what PvP is. What if they did like two more levels? Like, let's say you did all your 18s and you could do gear up to 226. If you do all 20s, you can get the 233 PvP weapons, kind of like what they do with Glad, or to kind of compare to the Mythic Raid system. Like, what are your thoughts if they added maybe those extra 2 steps?
Yeah, I think yeah, that pretty much fits along with what I was mentioning, and the weapons. Actually, I never thought about that, but that's actually kind of a good idea. And I think they nailed PvP loot, and I'm glad that they have, because it's been pretty painful for the last couple expansions with PvP loot. And this system they implemented, perfect. I think it's great. And I don't know why that PvE can't follow along those same suits. And it's again, it's a good step in the right direction.
Right.
I think
So,
it's gonna I think it's gonna be more people interested in doing mythic keys, because right now I've had a handful of people just say, you know what, I'm not really interested. They just get burnt out from it because there's no reward from it really. I mean, yeah, you get the 226 loot at the end of the week, but that just means that they run one key and say, yeah, I'm done for the week. Like, I don't blame them.
right. So yourself, like, how many keys have you been doing each week? You doing the 1, the 4, the 10? I guess, what are you doing for keys each week now?
Yep, I'm doing 14s is what I is my goal, just so I can have at least 2 options from the vault. But yeah, just get my 4 and call it for good. And I don't remember which week it was. I think it was like week 4 or something like that. It was a really easy key week, and I did 10 of them, and I think it was 10 12s, and that was the only time I did that. And it's nice having those options, but that's a lot of time to invest on top of rating.
Right, because you're looking at what, half hour to, let's say, an hour for each key. So let's just shorten it. Let's just say you're busting ass, you're killing it. So if you're doing half-hour dungeons, 2 in an hour, 10 of them, that's 5 hours a week of dungeons. Like, that's comparable to what we raid, like with that
Yeah.
4 to 6 hours of raid time.
Yep, exactly. So I think four for me personally, with rating everything else that goes on, I think that's pretty healthy and sustainable, at least. Sustainable in the sense of not feeling burnt out. Like I've mentioned, other people have expressed that to me. I've even thought it for a couple weeks where I had to dial back my playtime because I was starting to feel it too. So
Right, and then so I guess what are your thoughts on this aspect where they said any gear you get right now up to this implementation cannot be upgraded?
I'm not surprised that they did that, but I'm also not happy because the problem with Shadowlands so far is the drop rate. No matter if it's from Mythic Plus or if it's from Raid, like the whole PvE drop rate is just hard. Like I'm still wearing two 290 or no, 197 shoulders, and I've been running things. I've been in Raid every week, and I'm still running these shoulders. So it's I'm kind of bummed that they're not allowing previously obtained gear to be upgraded. Because it's not just the fact of like, hey, it's not on a high enough item level for Mythic Plus. It's also I can't get anything. So I know that there's been some changes, and I think that they're making changes this Tuesday for raid drops. Have you heard anything about changes with the loot for Mythic Plus?
I haven't heard of them increasing it because right now it is guaranteed between 5 people to have 2 pieces drop if you time it. So you're looking at, what is that, 40% of the group is getting gear.
Okay.
Right now, I don't think it's the same for raids because what, 40% of 20 people, you're looking at what, 4 pieces dropping?
Well, they did make some changes. Saw someone posted it in Discord, and I think it's like Mythic Raid, you get guaranteed 4 pieces of gear, and then Heroic Raid, normal and Heroic, I think it's every 5 people is 1 piece of gear that's dropping. And anyways, but I know kind of getting deviated on myth or on rating, but I just try to say with Mythic Plus, I was wondering if they are changing the loot drop on dungeons, because again, like yeah, you get 1 piece per dungeon, but it's just seems weird that out of anything, I'm struggling to find shoulders, and have been playing since launch, Raid and Mythic Plus since launch.
See,
So
I think this change though is going to help that out because you can target a dungeon, like let's just say Mist of whatever,
yeah,
Mist of Three
Tyrannosaurus.
Bosses is going to have your BIS shoulders. You can potentially chain that at a lower level, get a lower level
Oh,
item, and then upgrade it.
okay. I actually didn't. I actually didn't think about it in that way. So that's not awful, but I guess is it gonna take longer to upgrade? Because it's. I mean, you're at. I'm assuming that you're gonna have to spend Valor points at a flat rate, or is it a scaling rate?
Yeah, so
Like if
that'll
you
be the
go,
other variable of how much it'll cost to upgrade it. Like I don't know if
yeah.
it'll be like this is kind of a system compared to the PvP system. So my thought is PvP right now, you got to use conquest to buy your targeted item, and then you use honor, which is infinitely farmable to upgrade that piece.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that's how the Valor system works, where okay, I got the piece I want. I've hit the threshold. Now I gotta just chain dungeons, and I don't have a cap on my Valor because there's a cap on my item.
Yep.
So if you do that small one, you're in tune also getting all this Valor, hopefully a lot of Valor, that you can use, and you're chasing after that item. Bam, we got the item. Let me just throw all this Valor at it to boost it up to the 220 or whatever my threshold is. I'm hoping that's how it works.
Yep.
We'll see how that
Yeah.
lays out.
Yeah. Yeah. It is kind of like I said. It's a bummer that Blizz doesn't include previously obtained items, but at the same time, they've done stuff like this in the past, so it's not. This is not too out of the ordinary for them.
Right.
I mean, if anything, it'll help. I maybe help revitalize Mythic Plus runs because again, right now people are just not too interested in doing them because there's not much value from it. But if they're changing it up like this and saying you have to obtain a gear pre-patch or post-patch, and maybe it'll spark some people to want to do Mythic Plus again. But I think it's still good that they're doing it, and I'm sure there'll be more changes to come in the future of it. I don't think this is going to be a one and done thing because they're not implementing this with the point 0.5 patch, are they? 9.90.5.
I believe that's
I
when it
think this
rolls
is just
out.
a. Oh, it is, but okay.
Because
I
I
couldn't.
think they have this in the PTR, or they're pushing it as soon as possible onto the
Oh
PTR.
yeah.
This,
Yep, you're right. Yep. Okay.
so
I was gonna I was gonna say because I think they're just dropping this as a weekly update, but no, you're right. It is in the PTR.
do you know when the .05 is coming out?
No, I mean they just put it in the PTR. I think it was last week was our first week with it, so I uh I can't imagine. I'm sure the BlizzCon online was when they'll announce it, which that's in a couple days, isn't it? Like next weekend.
End of this week, I believe. I think it's
Yeah,
end of this week.
I'm pretty sure that's when we'll find out when it's going to be launched. Um, all this talk about it and everything like that, kind of building up the uh the base for to test it in the PTR, and then they can get at least a couple weeks worth of feedback with it and understanding with it, and then they can announce it at BlizzCon Online saying, "We've heard you about the loot situation. Here's what we're gonna do. Blah blah blah. It's been working great. It's gonna be implemented March 14th or whatever." It's kind of my guess.
Right. Hopefully that works out and they announce that so we can have that light at the end of the tunnel.
Yep.
So, I guess when we initially talked about this Valor Point system, one of the other aspects was when we transition from this tier to the next tier, like 9.1 to whatever that raid tier is, we've got, like, for through BFA, it was the same gear in all the dungeons from start of expansion to end of expansion. And the main item I think of is Kydrev when he was farming that sword in King's Rest, where
Yeah.
every time a new patch came out, that item level scaled up, he had to go back in King's Rest and go after that sword every time. Do you
Yep.
think they're going to allow us to go from Season 1 in Shadowlands, Season 2 to upgrade that? Or you think it's going to be, okay, you can't upgrade these, you got to get the item again and then upgrade it?
Oh, Great question. I never even thought about that aspect. It's a great question. Unfortunately, I think that they're gonna make you farm it again, similar to what they're doing right now with not allowing your previously obtained gear to be upgraded. I do like that though for keeping your gear and just continuing to upgrade it. I do like that, and I hope that hey Blizzard, make sure you do that. If they're
Right.
gonna if they're gonna if they're gonna watch and watch your stream and get some notes, yeah, take that away because that would be good.
All right, Devs, you heard it here again. So now that you copied the Valor system, copy that transition system. So I guess anything else you want to talk about? Mythic, we kind of spent a good time there, but we had a big drop we had to talk about. Anything else in the
Yeah.
Mythic Plus topic you want to run through?
Um. I guess real quick. I do want to say that I do enjoy that the fact that the devs are seeming to be a little more responsive than normal as far as making changes. I think it's shown that they have interest in making Mythic Plus better, and they're listening to the community. Because like how many times has the other side been extended the timer like twice now? I think it's been twice in 2 minutes at each extension. Like just stuff like that. Just mid patch, roll it out on a Tuesday saying, hey, we put 2 more minutes on the timer. I think that that's cool that they're listening, and it seems like they want to make it right. But um, it is kind of curious on why the loot system was completely flipped. But at least at least we know that they're listening with it.
Right. Yeah, that is nice that they're finally interacting with community. Like they took the PvP change, now they took this Mythic change. So it sounds like they're becoming this new, back to the old Blizzard days, not the Activision days that we've been
Yeah.
in the waters of right now currently.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
All right, good deal. Well, we're gonna quick kind of jump over to the Maw section, just because this kind of entangled with what we are just talking about with that like King's Rest scenario. They have or they will implement a system that the things you can grind out in the Maw won't roll over to the next season of Shadowlands. So you can't stock up on the sockets because those sockets are having a tag updated saying only usable for season 1. Same thing with the conduits. They'll only be good to upgrade for season 1. So you can't farm the Maw as much as everybody loves to be there. You can't
Yeah.
farm it and save those items. I guess what are your thoughts on that change there?
I think that's standard Blizzard practice. I mean, they did the titanium residuum reset for every patch, in BFA with the weekly residuum. So they reset that every patch. That was fine. Season, I mean, yeah, it kind of sucked, but hey, it's fine. I guess I feel the same way about the Maw because I know a lot of people right now who are sitting on 60,000 Stygia because they don't want to use it on par gear because they would rather use it on mythic level, but until you get a mythic piece of gear, then why waste a socket? So I know that there's people who are sitting on a bunch of it, and I don't know. Do you know, like, are they gonna actually reset Stygia or like when the next patch rolls over?
I would assume based on this change, they're going to have
Yeah,
to, right?
I would think so too because I never knew if they were gonna do that or not.
Yeah, I think this is
But
a good indication that they're going to do that based on the fact that they're not letting those items roll over. It'll probably be like the titanium residual where they refund like, hey, here's 30 copper because you had 10,000.
that was hilarious. I made sure to turn all of mine in so that way I could at least sell a gear for 90 gold a pop. It's
There
kind
you
of
go.
that was kind of funny that they gave you like some really small price for it, but you could just buy gear and vendor it right away, make triple. But no, I think that's good. I mean, as much as like you said, as much as we love being out in the mall farming Stygia, I think you'd have a very broken system in the next raid, Mythic first or World first raid. Um, because otherwise you're gonna have these people sitting on 100,000 Stygia and they're gonna get to the next raid tier, get their first piece of gear from heroic, slap socket on every piece of it, and then go into mythic and kind of be I don't want to say face roll, but you definitely have a power advantage, and I don't see Blizzard allowing that. Sucks they need to regrind it, but hey, that's the nature of World of Warcraft. There's always going
Right.
to be a grind.
Right, fair. And I guess with that indication, that probably is how they're going to handle the Mythic Plus loot. They're probably going to be Season 1, Season 2. You can only upgrade Season 2.
Yeah, I think you're right. I never thought about continue to have the piece of gear and continue to upgrade it. I never thought about that until you just mentioned it, and I love it. But I don't I don't know if I would see that.
Right, so we'll see. Hopefully, well, let's not even say hopefully. It'll probably be similar to what they did, but it kind of makes sense because if you just take the same gear set, you grind it out, and now you just upgrade it, it's not so
Yeah,
much that I got a new piece of loot. It's kind of I just farmed honor or farmed valor.
right. Yeah.
All right. I guess you still go on the mall right now. You kind of done with the mall. Where are you sitting on the mall side of things?
I still try to go there, do dailies and leave. Like I for sure do the weeklies. I won't let those lapse over. But no, I go in there pretty much daily if I'm online.
And you got that mount though, right? So it's a whole different
You-
world for you to
Oh
travel
yeah.
around out there.
As soon as I got that mount, my attitude towards the mod just completely changed. That thing's a game changer, and I know that we've all kind of agreed. Well, not you, because you're just a filthy druid that just runs around everywhere. But
Well, I've killed that guy 7 times now, and I have not seen the mount.
oh, you got to get that one from Torgath. Like I tried getting that mount from that Shade Hunters or whatever the hell that quest is. We gotta get you in Torghast. I know that's not your favorite, but hey, it's
Well,
guaranteed at least.
so the mall. We'll just say we're done with that topic. Let's go on to Torgath. Have you tried Torgath this week with that new choir thing?
Yeah, I did my two runs on Tuesday. I wanted to farm enough. Oh yeah, that's right. I was asking you if you were interested, and you ghosted me. But no.
Right.
Um, yeah, I I thought it was interesting. There's definitely some finesse to understand how to play them. The first run I did, I took it, and I was the only one who took it. I'm pretty sure. And my damage was okay, but it was pretty much like the same amount of damage as I would do normally anyways. So I feel like there's room to grow on that. And then the second run, I didn't do it just because I wanted to compare again. But a couple or another guy in that second group took it, and I think the whole preface of that transformation is you have to treat that as your tank. Like everybody, because you can click on it. Have you done it this week? Let me ask first. Have you done your
So,
mod or your
so,
Torghast?
so I have, and I'm a fan of this thing.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely curious on your take because I left it pretty meh. Like, and again, it's probably, I didn't understand it fully.
So I did it as a tank, and if I was in bear mode when I went into it, I still had my increased like health and armor and threat generation.
Yeah.
So was in bear, clicked it on, and that AoE damage is amazing. Like I was basically leading most of the run anytime there was more than 3 mobs with the damage in it, and this is with 200 item level group, so everybody was 200 plus.
Yeah.
But the other benefit is my healer was able to stack on me, and he becomes immune.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to move to dodge mechanics. He basically sits on me. I move around, dodge mechanics, and he gets to free cast heals.
Yep.
The
So that's cool. That's good to hear.
so from that aspect of it, like the only thing I think they need to fix a little bit of tuning is our healer had to dismount or what have you to pick up Phantasm.
Yeah. Yep. That's that's interesting, and I'm glad to hear your take on that because it wasn't until that second run when I realized when I wasn't that ghost form, whatever you want to call it, that you could click on it and go into the body of that. And once I realized that on that second run, and then I realized that the different powers that they could pick up also applied to you if you're in there. Like there's one thing if like you charge the location, you get 100% increase in critical strike for 10 seconds or something like that. And if you're in that mob, you get that same buff, but if you're not, then you don't get it.
Right, and
So
then like healing and like I became like a super tank in that thing, and then I also the divine shield aspect for like 2 seconds, 90% of your damage is negated.
yep.
So especially I'm gonna try and knock it out here. My horde druid and it's like 180, so it's a little bit rougher in there.
Yeah.
But I think this is gonna scale up pretty good to make it a little more sustainable.
Yep. Yeah, I thought it's pretty cool. I didn't really have the same experience as you had, so I left it kind of like unsure, but after hearing what you've said, that kind of brought things together for me and be like, yeah, actually this is pretty cool.
Right, and then it's not something where you can have your healer do it because there's no real heals for them to do. So I think it's meant to be the tank. I saw like a hunter come in and do it, and he wasn't doing that much better than the other damage. So I don't know if it's that great for DPS. Not good for
Yeah.
heals, but I think it's a tank thing.
Well, see, I think that if you're gonna do it, and this is I tried typing this out to my group when we were in there. I think the whole point of it is if one DPS gets in, everybody should get in. Like you're not gonna benefit if one guy or one DPS is out there in that form. But if you all get in there, if you all three of you, then it's a benefit. So whether it's the tank that takes it, like you did, or if it's the DPS that takes it, but every other DPS gets in there, uh, I think it could be beneficial for that too.
Right, where you get all the I guess the buffs stacked up and just kind of roll through it. And the other bonus I notice is I don't know if you want to call it mechanics or like the Temple of Doom stuff that can kill you.
Yeah.
Your whole group can stick on you. You blink over, bam, it's negated. So for about
Yep.
timing it, blinking over it, like another little convenience or bonus to it. So I'm a
Yeah.
fan of this. I feel like this is 100% better than that beast thing because I felt like that didn't really make a change to that last event they
Oh,
had.
I actually didn't even do that one, the beast one. I didn't even do it. I wasn't sure. It was one of those things where I'm like, I just want to get in here, do what I know, what I'm comfortable with, which is just shadow, and then get it over with.
Fair, fair. I
But
guess good.
this was pretty good though. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yep. So I'll put my stamp of approval on this event, and I'm okay with it. So we'll see. I think we got one more out of the 3 they dropped or 4 they dropped to see what that one looks like. But this one's by far beating the beast one they rolled out with.
So, do they have it every? Oh, I'm looking at the calendar now, the WoW calendar. Okay. Is it like a once a month thing then they do?
It's a
Do you?
few weeks. I think the other one went for 3 or 4 weeks before this one rolled out.
Yeah. That yeah, that pretty much lines up with once a month. I'm looking at the WoW calendar. I'm logged in, and yeah, the next one isn't until March 9th, and then after that it's August. I'm sorry, April 6th,
Okay,
and
so
then the
4
next one
weeks.
is May 4th. So it looks like it's a once a month kind of deal. In June, it's gonna be we're actually gonna get 2 of them in June. Tuesday the 1st of June, and then Tuesday the 29th of June. But it's a 4 week or a 3 week separation.
Okay.
It happens on the 4th week, so yeah, it's a 4 week rotation. So it's probably a better way to say it.
All right, there we go. I guess anything else on Torgath you want to cover?
Yeah, we need to get you your mount. Gotta
Uh,
get through those layers.
Definitely
What
not doing
level?
144. I
What
haven't.
level? What level are you?
I
What
haven't
floor
gone
are you?
back and done the one. Like I
Oh
failed in
shit!
that one after 3 hours, and I haven't gone back. I'm too salty.
Dang. Did you do that with a group or not? I can't. I know I've asked you, but I just don't remember the answer.
No, I soloed it as a bear back before that group tuning went into it, and I had
Yeah.
no problems ever just running through like 8 solo as a bear. But I could barely finish layer 16 as a bear. Like, I had to blow hero, I had to do all my cooldowns, like I barely snuck through the boss on 16, and then trash started killing me in 17. I got to the last boss in 18 finally, and yeah, it wasn't even competitive. He just wrecked me. So we'll see if I go back. It'll be down the road. Like
Yeah.
right, now that you got me jaded about that Torgath bad memory, we're gonna move on. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Well, if and when I ever level an alt, I'll wait, no, it's account wide. Never mind. I was like, I'll run it with you, but I don't need it to run it a second time with my
No, you
other
have
characters.
no reason to go back there and ever again. You're good with it. No reason to go back. All right, real quick. This week's world boss is Nergash. Nergash? Nergash? You're in game. How do you pronounce that? He's the bottom one in the tier.
Yeah, let me look. Nergash. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I would say Gash.
All right, so we'll call him Nergash. He's the one out in Maldraxxus. So this week, if you're one of these three classes, you want to get out there. Well, we'll just say two, but I'll name the three. So right now, it's going to be the Demon Hunter memory or the legendary item. This one just makes your rush on a faster cooldown. Garbage. I couldn't find anybody wearing it. So Demon Hunters, don't worry, take the week off. If you're an Unholy DK though, this will be your time to shine. Get out there, get this done, because it's going to be kind of your top two item, or top kind of split. Let's just say it's one of two best in slot raid legendaries, and Mythic Plus, it's your best in slot. So Unholy DKs, if you haven't got this legendary item, go out there, kill that boss this week. And then the third one is for Warlocks. It's for Destruction. It didn't look like it was that great. It does something to your Chaos Bolts. I couldn't see anybody that was running it either PvP, Mythic Plus, or Raid. So it looks like this is more the week. If you're Unholy DK, get out there. There are two guys. If you want to check that box, you're good. And I guess, what are your thoughts there on this 4-week rotation on having some of these being locked out? This has kind of been a hot topic we've been bringing up each week of, okay, get out there, or 4 weeks from now you got to wait again.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember hearing some of that on the previous episodes, and I pretty much agree. I don't think that they should have it locked, certain legendaries locked to these bosses. I think that's a stretch, and I don't even know if I'll look now. Yeah, I don't. Like Shadow Priest doesn't have anything from these bosses, so I actually didn't even realize that world bosses dropped legendaries, because Shadow Priest doesn't have one. So when I first heard you mention that, I was like, wait, what? Like, there's a rotation? I mean, I know there's rotation, but there's a rotation you have to wait for to get a legendary for some classes? Like that, I thought that blew my mind.
Right, and looking back here, unless that first boss drops something for Priest, the Priest hasn't had one drop off the last 3 bosses. The last 2 weeks of this coming up week, so maybe Valinor has a Priest one, but it must not be that great.
It is. I'm looking at all specs right now, and there for Holy, there's one from Valinor. Yeah, which again, with me not focusing on Holy, I haven't even had that gear filtered out to be showing me Holy gear. So again, I didn't realize that they did drop anything. Because Shadow, there isn't any, but that one for Holy Priest is actually pretty good. It allows you to resurrect after you die. It's like a free battle res. They had that back in Legion. Well, they had a lot of these back in Legion, but it was actually really cool to use in a raid as a mechanic. So there was, I can't think of what the fight name. Actually, there's a couple of fights, but I basically would purposely go out and die to get rid of like a stack of things. It was just kind of another tool you got to use as a Holy Priest, and it doesn't count towards your reses either. So you die, you go to Guardian Spirit, you heal for another 10 seconds, I think it is. And then after that Guardian Spirit ends, you just reform back to your normal shape or normal character.
Oh, nice. That could become viable for different fights then, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, the guild I was in, we definitely had a few fights that it was like that was a legendary I ran, because then if it was like a soak mechanic where you got a dot or a stacking dot, if you soak something, I would just go run around, soak everything, die, res, come back, and keep going.
Oh, okay, nice. So we'll come back next week. We'll talk a little bit more about that when that boss rolls around. But again, to recap, Unholy DK next week. Get out, kill it, Warlock, Demon Hunter. If you want, you can, but it's not going to be vital for your performance. All right, let's move on. This is a good topic for you. The raid progress. So This week's
Meaning to
raid
ask you about yours.
this week's raid progress. So we've been talking about numbers. Right now, as of last night, there's 195 guilds that have cutting edge. 157 of them are horde. Only 38 are alliance. So
Wow, that's
alliance,
insane.
we need you to step up your game because that's what 62 more we need, so we can start doing cross server, and us small server people can start progressing to mythic, like do the mythic raids to try and push that a little bit.
Yeah.
I guess, how are you guys sitting on your guys' raid progress?
We don't have AOTC yet. We're 12, I think 12 or 11% is where our best is, and we've actually got to that same percentage, I think 3 or 4 times now. It's just that third pie slice when you have the 1/3 of the room left, and you have to spread the Nathrias to one end and us on the other end is where we end up dying. But we're mythic wise, we got Shriek on lockdown. We one-shot Shriek last week, and this week we two-shot him. We had a little bit of an incident where we lost the lantern, and everyone was kind of like running around blind, trying to dodge things of where they thought the orbs were. But yeah, so we're still working on it. We're trying to figure out those little nuances with the Nathrias. Every pug that I've been in, that's always that same percentage, or anywhere between 12% and below is the danger zone.
So are you guys making it to where all three pies fill in, or you guys are wiping on that third pie before it fills in?
On the third pie before it fills in. It's like the transition when you lose your second pie slice and you're trying to get your tanks to one side and your DPS on the other side to soak those seeds. It's like that transition phase starting on the third pie slice. We just have problems with either the DPS being not far enough because they're in the Denathrius' circle and you can't soak. It's that's the main issue.
So I believe the way we did that is on that third phase, when you're on phase 2, you stay in the pie slice and you let him knock you back into where the third one is.
Yep.
And you pull the boss across the room. But then you have your soaks drop it right by the edge of where that one just filled in.
Yep.
So everybody flops over, runs to the opposite side, except for the pie slices. They stay still because it's around the same time. Not the pie slices, but that circle comes at the same time where you get knocked back. Tanks start pulling them away. The 3 that have it stay, and then they run back over to where that pie slice is to soak. I think is the play there. I remember it
Yep.
right. And I say this because we finally knocked out AOTC this week.
Yeah, dude, congrats on that. I saw you post that somewhere. Was that in your Discord or Nine Mandate, or I saw that the screenshot of it.
I spread it around. It was probably in
Okay.
all of them. It's probably in all of them. It's a little exciting. It was I think Radio
Bragging
said
rights.
16 days is how long it was since we hit Stone Temple Guardians. I feel like that's not right.
Stone Legion.
There we
Stone
go.
Legion Guardian. Yeah.
Is that Advanced Stone Temple Guardians? So, and we've been solely focused on Sire since then because we killed them, went on, and we kept resetting the lockout ever since. So all our Tuesday or all our Wednesday, Friday raid nights have been 2 hours just on this boss. So
Yep. One kind of weird question, but I've been seeing this in pugs and now even in guild and Nine Mandate. How do your groups or your polls look after about an hour and a half of being in there? Like, do your polls progressively get better? Do your polls do you wipe around the same time, or do they just get worse over time? I'm curious.
So
Obviously they got better because you killed them, but like in general.
So it's kind of like an instant spike, drops down, and then we build back up because the last, like we'll use Wednesday and Friday for example, both polls, the first poll, we got to phase 3, no issues, and we got close. I think both when we got to phase 3, when we got to like 2 pies, and then Friday we got to like 3 pies, and we just kind of the enraged timer. We ran into the fact that the pie is closed in, 2 people were dead, so we didn't have enough to push it. So we have a great pull, and then we slowly ramp back up to get back to that level.
That's so interesting.
And
That's exactly what I've been experiencing, and I wanted to hear your experience.
right, because I think we killed him with like 10 minutes left in the raid night. So in our 2 hours
Oh,
of
nice.
raiding, I guess to have that hour and a half bubble, our raid's only 2 hours. So around that, I guess, hour and a half bubble is kind of where we killed him finally.
Okay.
And I don't know if you're Night Fae or not, but like the AFTC title's cool, but we don't get any mounds because it's the first raid boss tier. But Night Faes get this sick dragon,
Really?
and like I'll show you, I'll send you a clip after it or a picture of it after this. But the wings, like it's weird because the wings have like a picture of the dragon on the wings. So they put in some work into this little Night Fae image thing.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That they got Night Fae got that.
Right? So, cool little tidbit. We'll see where we go now. I guess I don't even know what the plan is for raids at this point, since we've spent so much on Sire. I don't even know. I guess I don't know what next goal is. Maybe we'll do Mythic, but this guild was never really into Mythic, so more to come on that aspect of it.
Mythic Raid or Mythic Plus?
Mythic Raid.
Okay.
Yeah, because we haven't even put our toe in there yet, or even. I think they talked about doing it, like having a Mythic squad, because I think we have that flex amount going from. I think we're 20 to 30 somewhere is where we're at, so I don't know how that'll work, but it's above my pay grade. I'm a peon in this new guild. I just show up
Yeah.
and go pew pew.
I bet that feels nice for you, huh? A little change.
Yeah,
Just
definitely a little
log
bit
in,
laid back.
log into your thing, log out.
Right, but I still do the what do they need? Because until we progressed this, I was running Feral, but we needed the extra range for the side ads, so I've been doing Boomkin for this Sire push.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
And we don't have those
Boomkin's
stupid Azurite things, and my conduits are similar because it's the Convoke conduit is DPS one, so I don't even have to switch that for Feral and for Radiant Prog. Alright, any other topics on Raid you want to talk about?
I know we touched on this earlier, so I don't want to go back to it, but I was gonna say that I'm glad that the loot is changing a little bit, but it'd be nice to have that little more drops. So I'll be curious on how it looks going forward, and it's obviously an increase is good, but like, is it gonna be noticeable? Like, are people gonna be like, oh shoot, like that's great, now we can start trading more people and getting gear? But that's
Yeah.
big news. But we already talked about it.
Well, let's talk about that for a second here, because I decided this week not to do anything else in not Mythic and Heroic, because the week before I ran with you guys and killed 9 of the 10 bosses and got up to Sire because I knew that's what our guild was going to prog on. The whole run, one piece loot dropped, and it was the same piece I had already.
Yeah, that's tough.
So that worked out well, because then this week our guild leader ran a Tuesday pug and she scuffed her lockout. So because I had the lockout from the week before, I just extended it because I didn't plan on going back in there.
Yep.
So now we killed it. Now I have a fresh lockout next week. I think I might try and pug. Or I guess we'll see what the guild does, but if the guild doesn't do it, I'm going to try and get the head. I guess I need 2 more of those heads to get that unlocked.
Oh yeah.
And then
Yep.
beyond that, I guess I don't know. Maybe if I'm bored, I'll try and fill in the transmog, but we'll see. Maybe that 33% increase in loot drop will be enough to bait me back into it. Alright, so I think we're good on the raid topic. Hopefully we get a couple more alliance guilds to knock that off, and then we can start cross-servering.
Yeah, that's funny. I completely forgot about that aspect. And we really didn't talk about that. But I still find that bizarre. I don't understand how the gap is so dramatic, but yeah, we need to get alliance guilds shaped up so we can start plugging Mythic.
Well, there was a big increase because I'm looking at last week. So last week there was 144. It's up to 195. So we've got, what, 51 more guilds went up in it.
Yep.
But 24 were Alliance last week. Now 38 were Alliance. So Alliance made a big jump because their week before they went from 15 to 24 to went up 9. This week 24 to 34 they went up 14. So they doubled the amount that Prague this week. So I guess there must have been a nerf on Sire. Oh, maybe it's those circles. Maybe that circle thing made Mythic easier.
Circle thing?
The
the
circles.
crescendo changes, the
Yeah.
visibility. Yeah, that's actually a good point. That is the change that happened this week, but yeah, the crescendo thing. You know what? It was funny because when you mentioned that and showed me that clip of that video, and I was like, well, are you sure this is even a change? Because half the circles were orange and half of them were red. I don't know if you recognize that, but when I was rating, that was the same thing for me too. Half were orange, half were red.
So what did we come up with? Some in the guild mentioned like what they thought the reason for it was, and they thought that Blizzard was lazy and just coated a brighter one over the old one.
Right, and there's like layering issues. Like sometimes it's layered, the red one's layered up, and the other times layered down.
Yeah, where they just added it. They didn't remove one. They just added
Yep,
the functionality.
that makes sense.
All right. Well, let's throw this in there. Let's do the hate to see it clip of the week.
Oh, you have it?
Yep, we got one. I reached out to a streamer this morning and I was like, hey, what do you have this week for me? I need something to fill in this gap. So this comes from, oh God, I'm gonna butcher her name, and I always do this. Like, she's the little fox lady, Pheoris. So ran into her back when I was running the bear avatar because us avatar people had to stick together. Let's pull it up here. So we're gonna go video. We're gonna show. So what's going on is, you know how they've made the zones look so comparable now, where like the mist maze is actually a maze out in the real world too.
Oh yeah.
Well, she forgot she was still in the dungeon. So you got Discord up. Can you see this stream here?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Let's roll the tape here and see what happens on this week's Hate to See It clip of the week.
I'm leaving. I can't do it anymore.
Wait, why'd I die? Why? No, I was gonna grapple down.
I like that weak aura. Really
did
think
not
it's from
land.
baddies.
You weren't outside of the dungeon.
So yeah, she left the group but didn't realize she was still in the dungeon. So
Wait, why'd I die?
That's funny.
Why?
Fell off the building.
No, I was gonna grapple down.
all right, so yeah, if you want
did
to
not
check her
land.
out, she's
You weren't outside of the dungeon.
twitch.tv/Pheoris. I'll put her information down on YouTube. Reach out to her, show her some love, help remind her, leave the dungeon before you do some crazy stuff, otherwise she'll just die.
That's a good
All
clip.
right.
I'll have to show you the clip. I had this kind of loaded up too. I'll just show you the clip of us on that Shriekwing pull in Mythic where we lost our lantern. I watched it briefly, and it's like it's still good to watch, but it's really missing the commentary from Discord. So I'm gonna have to go find it on Toke's stream and send you the clip of that from the stream, because you could hear the panic in Discord about like where are the orbs, where are they, and then all of a sudden like they just blew up. I just got a clip of it without the Discord noises, so I'll have to send you that. Maybe that would be a contender for next week's Hate to See It.
Right, and we are always keeping a lookout for those too. Like potentially the one here from Atlalune, that could be a contender for next week's. Otherwise, put some comments in the description. You got a clip that you want us to post? Like maybe we'll start doing a giveaway. Maybe we'll just start showing your clip. We'll see, but comment below if you got one. Share with us. We're looking for these each week, and if you find it, it saves me some time. So I appreciate you right now for going out of your way to share some funny clips with us. All right. Well, we got a couple more quick ones. So this week coming up, time walking, Mist of Pandaria. What are your thoughts on time walking? You gonna do it?
Depends if it's heroic or normal gear that you get from the quest. I guess for me, that whenever it comes to time walking, I'll do it either on an alt, or if it drops heroic gear, then I'll do it on my main. But it's always fun to go back.
So I believe it's norm, because I think the Shadowlands gives you the heroic piece, but I think this one just does normal.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun to throw on your old Legos, go back there and see what those do, but hopefully the tuning's not too far off, because that became a just complete shit show with the Firelands raid. Do you know if they're going to have a Panda raid for this, or is that not even a thing for Mist throwback?
Yeah, it's funny because I was going to ask you the same question, because I don't know. I'm not sure if I think, for as far as I know, I think that every time walk the raid that goes with it, but I'm not 100% sure.
Mist of Pandaria, time walking, Pandaria.
That was when I was PvPing, so I don't even know. I can't even think of like what raids were back then. I'll see if I can look it up and. Oh, Siege of Orgrimmar, Throne of Thunder, Terrace of Endless Spring, Heart of Fear, Mogushan Vaults. Yeah, I did a little bit of Siege of Orgrimmar and a little bit of Throne of Thunder, but that was my heavy PvP patch.
But
I know it's weird for you to hear me say I used a PvP, but I did use the PvP.
Like, we've heard rumors, but I have yet to see proof, so I don't need photo where it didn't happen. Like, if you would have started streaming back in the day on Justin TV, that could have been a thing.
It could have been. Actually, that was the exact same time frame as it. Justin TV days and
so
PvP.
I don't think there's a raid for this one.
It's interesting that they wouldn't.
Right, because they've got Black Temple for BC. They got Uldir for Wrath. They've got Firelands for Kata. So this would be the next one, but I don't think they've got a raid set up for it, because I don't know which raid they would even do. Would they do Siege of Orgrimmar?
I feel like if there's any one of them, that would be the one.
Oh, here we go. Unfortunately, there's no mob time walking raid available. Well, this was last year. Maybe they'll drop something, but as of right now, I don't think there's any notice of that.
Yeah.
Alright, and I'll be honest, I'm probably not going to even jump in there at all, because I don't like mythics in general, let alone this old school content. So you probably won't see me in there.
I really liked the first time walking when they had Uldir and the amount of loot that dropped out of that. I thought that was awesome, but now that's changed.
Right, and again, that was something where the community is like, hey, this is awesome, but Blizzard's like, a little bit too awesome, let's fix this, and then they nerfed it in the ground with Firelands. Yeah, which is unfortunate. You know, I feel like, because their concern was it's the same level of gear as current raid tier, and they want people to focus on current raid tier. But it's like, well, why? It's just 1 week. Like, just let people play it, enjoy the past if they want to. They don't have to. And it's like kind of a bummer. Right, and it was normal level gear. It wasn't like it's gonna help these mythic cutting edge guilds. Like, it was level 200 gear. So they could have let us have our fun.
Yep. One more question for you before we move on to the next topic. I know we're still kind of hovering around raids. One thing I forgot to ask when you talk about your AOTC run, do you remember what your group comp was? Was it like 239, 2516, or 12? I think it is. Do you remember your group comp?
Instead of guessing, I can actually just pull it up here. Let's go. Might, Heroic, Sire, 2512.
Okay. It's a pretty healthy group.
And 7 and 5, 7 melee, 5 range.
Okay. Yeah, that's one thing I've been trying to figure out, like what would be the best comp for Sire, and like how many people. There's a couple pugs that I run with, and they are all about filling it up with 30 people, and it's like, why? I don't think this is a fight for that. There's too much going on for 30 people. But
Puddles and lions, I think, would be an issue. I don't know if it adds more lions, but it adds more puddles for sure.
yeah, well, that's exactly it. Like it's kind of like you want like, less is more for that reason. But cool. I'm glad that you were able to get it. I'm a little salty because I think I'm 125 pulls and no kill.
Ooh,
So
this isn't where I was at because I took a night off because we had gymnastics out of town, but we killed it on the 70th pull for the guild.
that 70 pulls for you, or just 70 pulls as a
70
guild?
pulls for the guild, because that's what the raid leader said it was, and she
Okay.
only does the raiding with the guild, so it was 70 pulls for the guild that we killed it on. The 69 pull, like, we didn't make it a phase 1, somebody scuffed it, so fate was not on our side to make the 69th our kill shot. Alright, anything else in the raid you want to talk about?
No, I think I'm good there.
Alright, next topic. Love is in the air. We're weak into this. I have been pushing a little bit for that big love rocket mount. I've been doing 6 to 10 runs a day
Oh
on
shoot.
different tunes because it's a quick queue, bam, done. I think it takes me
Yep.
like half an hour to knock it out. Have you made any attempts at this, or where you at on that?
I have not. I don't really get into any of the world events like Halloween, Brewfest, the Valentine's Day, Love in the Air. Not really my thing. I used to do it back in earlier days, but I don't focus on it, so I don't have any good stories to share there. But did you get your rocket yet, or are you still working on it?
Still working on it. I don't think
Okay.
it's a possibility. I did learn something though, that I don't have to do it on all 10 different characters, because you can only get it on characters that are 50 and above.
Oh,
The
shoot.
the 20, 30 character levels or whatever, those guys, I can still get in there because it's an FSK or Shadowfang Keep instance. But your characters have to be level 50 or above for a chance at it. So we got one more week. I'll keep taking swings. I'm not running around the world doing this love in the air stuff, but I am still just queuing in to the dungeon finder, quick knocking it out next tune. Just going through and doing those, and you can don't do this, but I see people doing this. People are queuing as Rhett as a tank, and then the bosses are just hopping around slaughtering everybody. Don't be that guy. If you're gonna play that role, at least put on a shield and taunt and draw aggro. Don't do that and go on the wrong spec. You are what's wrong with America. Alright. And then this week's PvP event coming up is the Cooking Impossible. This is such a weird little Brawl instance thing. Have you done this yet there?
No, I'm actually gonna Google it right now. Cooking Impossible, huh?
Yes, so it's of course Alliance versus Horde. I think it's 10 versus 10. And you both have big pots of stew. It's like a Pandaria thing. So it's kind of similar to like that farm area look. But you both are running out, grabbing these like vegetables, these items that are food, and running them to your pot. So
Okay.
it kind of reminds me of like American Gladiators, where you had to run, grab the ball, get by the gladiator, and put it in your tube.
Yep.
So that's what it's like. So you got to figure out who's on offense, who's on defense. Is nobody on offense, nobody defense? It's kind of a weird little one. And at first, I wasn't a fan of it. But now that I put that American Gladiator spin on it, now I feel like I'm going to do it this week, just because now I've got that analogy with it.
You gonna play some old music in the background when you're playing? Some jock jams running in the background doing the PvP event.
100%. I'll pull up my old basketball warm-up playlist. And
Oh
have that
yeah. I wonder how much I've aged myself, or even you, because you agreed to it. But I wonder who even knows what Jock Jams is. Like, do kids
Ah,
know about that nowadays? I say
no,
kids, but they're not adult. They're adults now.
definitely the
But
Zoomers don't, but I feel like the people that watch this podcast are in their 30s with us, so they would appreciate that or get that reference.
so you listen to Jock Jams to warm up for basketball, get pumped up, right? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I didn't, but some of the songs crossed over, so like I get the reference, some of the songs, but definitely didn't buy the CD because some people may have been downloading or sharing music back in the day and not buying stuff. That,
No.
I heard things. I don't know. That was back in the MySpace days, so we've just heard things. We don't know if it actually happened. All right, then real quick, we'll touch on PvP. Have you done any PvP this week, last week? Plan on it?
Last week I did. What the heck did I do in PvP? I did do PvP. I don't remember the reasoning for it. Oh, it was with YOLO RGBs. Yeah, I just joined some RGB YOLO groups, and this week I haven't. I actually haven't played much on WoW this week outside of the 2 raid nights, but yeah, some YOLO RGBs last week though.
And for you people out there, when he says RGB, he actually means RBGs because it's rated battlegrounds, not rated ground battles, or
Oh,
or the
so
color
not
RGBs.
yeah, that's exactly it. I was like, oh wow, why would I even say that? But I'm looking at my RGB fans right now. Makes sense. RBGs.
So I did a little more this week, and I did them from my horde like 180 item level to my alliance 210 item level, both running as Boomkin, and I kind of like where it's set up right now. I haven't been pushing very hard because my alliance is like at 1700, and then the horde one's under 1k, but the scaling on the winning, like if you win at like 1200, the next time if you have the same group it bumps you up to like 14, 15. But the same aspect is if you lose and queue with the same group, it puts you down like 200. So
Wow.
instead of the group just folding right away, you've got like this bad luck protection going on for your next run. So
That's interesting.
like that's nice where I haven't seen groups just like, oh my god, this is crap, leave right away. I feel like people now sit around a little bit for this bad luck protection you potentially get to go in against a team that's not as good as the one you just faced.
Yeah.
I guess, what are your thoughts on that? Do you leave the group right away? Do you wait it out? Like, how's your stance on this?
Usually from what I like to do is I like to stick with the group for like usually like three matches, and then that's when I kind of when I leave. And with me joining YOLOs, I don't expect to win. It's more or less like, hey, I want to go do this for fun, see what the group can do. So I'll usually stick it out unless if it's a complete dumpster fire. Like if nobody, let's say a Arathi Basin, and we tell someone, hey, you need to sit on farm, and they don't even sit on farm. Like if the group has people who are blatantly not doing callouts or objectives, I'll leave. But if it's a group that actually tries and you still lose, I'll stick around.
Nice. Okay. So maybe we'll get together. Maybe we'll do some more this week. I kind of want to start doing a Morningwood like viewer event, like whether it be we run some mythics, whether we do some rated battlegrounds. So look for that coming in the coming weeks. I want to have that organized where you guys can interact, engage with us, kind of get back, get some organization going. So yeah, put in the comments, do you want to see some Mythic Pluses? Do you want to see some RBGs? Do you want to see some like normal raid? Let us know what you'd like to see. Maybe we'll get something like that going for you. I guess, Atlalune, would you be down to jump in with those, help out, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I can jump in. I think Shadow's a lot of fun as long as I don't have 2 warriors beating on me, then it's not so fun, or rogue. But yeah, Shadow's pretty great in PvP. You can just rip through people, and it's quite a little bit of a different play style than what you would do in PvE, but that's pretty much the nature of every class. You have to play a little different. So I'd be down to do that, or maybe put on some of my discipline skills from back in the day, like I keep talking about. Be
So
disciplined for PvP.
I'm gonna get you a talent build and a conduit build, and you should probably just get in there because right now Radiance with this conduit stack and with this PvP talent, it instant heals the whole raid for like 50% of their health.
Yeah.
Like it's nuts. Like you can just
Stat-
basically damage and then pop that.
Yeah. Send it my way. I'd be down for that.
Like it's God, what do I want to call it? It's awkwardly enjoyable because it's not like the normal healer where you're like playing whack-a-mole. You're just like, I'm gonna damage, put mind games on this guy, and then when everybody's low, I'm gonna instantly heal everybody up. And same thing on you. Like if it's a warrior jumps on you, bam, here's half your health again. Oh, here's another half your health, like instantly back. So disc is in a good spot. Besides, you're gonna go in like 2 minutes of a fight. So
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
right.
send it my way. I'm totally up for that too, and I know you've been playing discipline more than I have on your priest, and any tips and tricks for PvP, I'm all game for it.
All right, good deal. We'll have to catch up and get that squared away. I guess. Well, we're kind of towards the end of the time here. We want to wrap this up. I guess anything else you want to touch on, or anything else you want to cover?
I'm thinking here. Nothing that's right on top of my head. I'm kind of looking around. So I kind of do have a question for you. So you're pretty much, your thoughts on Mythic Plus, like you're not really gonna run at them, or I know we talked about this earlier, but what do you normally do for Mythic Pluses a week? And like, do you try to get a 14 in and that's it? The main reason why I'm asking because I want to find out if you want to tank one or not. But
So
what is your plan?
I avoid them unless
Oh.
usually you guys are the ones that reach out or some of the guild reaches out because tanks are kind of, or good tanks are kind of limited right now. So I did do the other side like an 11 just because I had a 5, and so I knocked out an 11 as Boomkin, and
Oh.
I had to carry that group. Like the last boss, the healer died, so I had to heal the group, and then I also had to teleport to the side where that healer died to get him up so I could go back to DPSing, and the tank it was such a mess. So I do enjoy playing Boomkin because it's easy to sit back, but I feel like I have to tank because I need to have control of the group.
Yep.
And
Okay.
I guess what I heard, I haven't tanked yet since the nerfs and stuff came in, and it's not so much the kite meta anymore, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I don't know, I'm just not feeling mythics. Once the Valor thing opens up, I'll probably go back in there knowing that I can actually get gear from it, but at this point I'm on call and that's about it.
Yep. I think that's the attitude with a lot of people right now. But they'll come back to Mythic Plus once Valor's system comes out.
Right, and it gives that benefit to grind it out.
Yep.
All right. Any other topics, or I think we're pretty much done here at this point.
I don't have anything, no.
All right, guys. Well, appreciate you stopping out. Atlalune, what the hell? Appreciate you substituting here the last moment. I gave you like a 5-minute notice saying, hey, I need you in here so it's not just me talking to myself. And I bet the viewers will enjoy a lot better than if I just talk to myself for an hour and a half. So,
Yeah, definitely.
again,
No, I'm glad I was able to help out. Even though I'm not webcam worthy, but hey,
right,
picture's okay.
We got a picture up there. Maybe I'll like animate like a face over it when I put up on YouTube, like have some lips moving or something. We'll see.
Oh, I'm scared now. I'm really scared.
All right. Well, folks, appreciate you stopping out. If you want, you can catch me live. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 to 10 Central Time. Catch us every Sunday morning, 8 a.m. Central Time for the Morning Wood. Again, want to thank you for waking up with some Morning Wood this beautiful February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day. We will talk to you next week, and we out.